Hello and blessings, beautiful souls. Sarava and I share to you. How are you today? It is New Year's Eve and I wanted to jump on here really quickly and wish you all a very happy new year. It is the end of a decade and whoo, has it been a full-on decade, and it's also been a full-on year. There have been a lot going on and it's just been incredible. But I want to close down this year, and I also want to close down this decade and take the best of this year and the best of this decade and have it be the worst of the future. Do you know what I mean? The best of the past be the worst of the future. I just want to keep growing, and I want to keep, my heart still, wrapped around all the things that I love and all the people that I love. I want to show support and kindness and charity towards others, and I'm stepping into a new space of just a completely different flavor. I was doing a bit of a roundup of the year on IG or the gram or just Instagram. I'm in the habit of abbreviating these days. And I was looking at all of my beautiful photos, and then I decided that from that Instagram image that I posted, that I was going to go on Patreon and do a bit of a kind of year at a glance blog post. And as I was typing everything down, I felt, genuinely nostalgic and quite feverish with just enthusiasm for the new decade and the new year coming. I looked at the things that really captured my attention this year, and I looked at the themes from this decade, although it's difficult, like 10 years is difficult to sort of recall. But in the last 10 years, I have had 3 children. I had 3 children in the last decade. Massive accomplishments. I've bought and sold homes and made and lost friends and created and traveled and just had epic adventures. I ticked so many things off my bucket list. I always wanted to live off-grid, and I did, and I am. I'm coming to you live from my off-grid tiny home. And I always wanted to live somewhere cold, and I am currently living in southern Tasmania, which is one of the coldest parts of Australia. And I always wanted to immerse myself in creative wonder that was my own, not just consume the creativity of others in that way, as in forever be the admirer of other people's works. I wanted to start creating my own thing, my own something. And I definitely did that. I always wanted to be an author from when I was tiny little. My father still tells me, and his love of books had a massive influence on me. I didn't even know what I wanted to be other than a writer from a very young age. And then I decided that I wasn't the writing type. It's a funny thing. And then as I was deciding that I wasn't going to be a writer anymore, I wrote a 321-page tarot guidebook. And my friend Gordon went, "Well, you're a writer." And I went, "Oh, I suppose I am." So I absolutely inadvertently ticked that off my list. And I wanted to interact with people that inspired me, and I definitely did that. And I wanted to change. I wanted to change something big within myself, and I did. My path changed, my practice changed, and my 6-year reading slump came to a crashing halt. It was the best experience ever. If you follow me on Goodreads, you'll know how active I have been in reading. I am on book 3 of the Raven Cycle. I've consumed about 12 books in the last 2 months, and I'm reading so many at the moment. I just finished Cruel Prince, I've just downloaded Wicked King. I am currently reading Lily Blue, the third book in the Raven Cycle series. And I'm also doing Name of the Wind. Name of the Wind? Yes, Patrick Rothfuss, the Kingkiller Chronicles. I just discovered Nevernight, and I have a TBR that is just impressive to me. I created another Instagram account called Little Red Pages with my beautiful best friend Alora, and that's something else that I've been doing because I fell in love with photography in this last decade, and I have been loving taking Instagram photos. Instagram has actually become one of my favorite platforms because I have the opportunity to sort of like indulge in photography, and I'm very amateur in my photography, but the vast majority of images that I take are off iPhone, but lately I've been going for a Sony A7 Mark III-R and a Panasonic GH5, a Sony A6400, a Canon G7X Mark II, and my iPhone 10, and my Hero Black, and my DJI Osmo Pocket. And I have just gotten so into cameras and videography. I entered the world of Mac in this decade as well, and I went from a phone to a iPad to a laptop to an iMac. I went from iMovie to Final Cut Pro. I invested in like microphone and stuff, and it's just been absolutely awesome. There's going to be people crashing the vibe.
You know what I mean?
I'm just live streaming, just in case.
Live streaming?
Yeah, I'm just live streaming to YouTube. So
Can't say balls.
you can't say. It's my brother-in-law. Yeah, so it's going to be a really, really fun closing as I marvel at everything. Yesterday, I cleaned off my altar, more or less. I took all of the flowers that you often see scattered on my altar, you know, through all my Instagram photos and my videos and that kind of stuff. I took them all the petitions, all the old candles, and I set them into a beautiful river to float away, disposed of thoughtfully. And that aspect, I feel, has closed down quite a bit. And so I've got that sorted, and now I have the wonderful, wonderful adventure of setting up a new sacred space, which is one of my most favorite things to do. And lately, my sacred spaces have been holding up for a lot longer than a rotation. And by rotation, if you don't know what I mean, it's a bit of a jargon term. I'm talking about the rotation of the Wheel of 8. I used to change my altar setup for every Sabbath, and so rotation is the word that I use there. But my altar is now more dark half of the year, light half of the year, and I stick with a theme for a bit longer. Not to say that I'm with the same altar for 6 months, but I'm definitely with it for a lot longer. And I have a dynamic altar setup now where I change a lot of it. I add a lot more botanicals, I remove things, I add candles, I remove things, I add crystals, I add oils, I remove things. And it feels like a snake, it feels like a serpent of creation. And that's the best kind of altar that I have ever had in my life. I've had amazing, incredible, beautiful altars that I have been very proud of. But the ones that I have been creating lately, they're so fluid and dynamic and organic. And I think that that's a really wonderful kind of energy to capture in an altar, especially when you're working on that altar. If it's a working altar, it's a really beautiful way of capturing creative energy as well. And it brings fluidity into the magic that you're weaving. And that to me has shown to be quite the powerful aid. I have gotten a lot into Southern folk magic and more African diaspora traditions because I come from an African diaspora tradition, being that I am Umbanda Makumba. So I have managed to find threads of familiarity in Southern folk magic and hoodoo, and I have really enjoyed that. I've also come to love traditional witchcraft of the non-Wiccan variety, sort of a more Cornish Pella cunning work style of thing. And that to me has been really beautiful. My tarot practice has evolved into butting up against a lot of spirit work, and I have noticed that there's this beautiful evolution of spirit, and I'm making space for interactions with guides, and I'm honoring more psychic hits as I'm doing my readings, which if you were to tell me that that would be the case 10 years ago, I would have been like, no, I am a this is the style of reading that I do, life mapping, life guidance, that kind of stuff. And now I'm all like spirit work, past life readings, spirit work, connect with your matron, patron, spirit guide, connect with guides, intuitive development. Like, it's kind of what I'm being sought out for now. These are very niche services that I offer, and it was pointed out to me that it's very unique. And when I really closely examined that, it's pretty much exactly what my family overseas does. And that's probably why I'd never thought to do it, because I just didn't want to. I didn't want to, didn't want to do what they all did, kind of thing. And then it's funny how it all just comes around in a nice cycle, and you just start to feel the call to home, the call to your roots. And that's definitely something that I felt last year, and something that was strongly solidified this year as well. Moving to a temperate climate, moving down here off grid, has also completely altered my practice and allowed me to yes, well, I don't really know how the hoodoo, just to respond to that comment, I don't really know how the hoodoo community looks upon outsiders of their culture practicing, but I do know that there are many books made, many books printed, and I do know that when there are books being printed and authors willing to write and people willing to teach the craft, then it's bound to spill out onto a more international platform. And so I would never call myself a hoodoo practitioner, but I do look at hoodoo as a friendly kind of middle zone for me, because I can't get what I need from Brazil. I haven't never been able to buy anything for my craft in Brazil, but I can get certain elements from the hoodoo community that also honor what I would be able to buy in Brazil, because Umbanda Macumba is African diaspora, and it's specific to Rio. It's specific to Brazil, I should say. And just like hoodoo is specific to the Americas, it's the diaspora practice of the Americas, and then Southern folk magic is a build on of that. And yeah, I would never try to take that away. I'm not trying to emulate that too hard, but I'm looking for the points, the intersections of similarity between the two practices, so that I can access information, ingredients, and the like, because I am unable to do so from Brazil. For various reasons that I just don't even want to get into, starting from the fact that I have been living in Australia for a long time, decades upon decades, and I've never been able to send a package overseas without it going missing, ever. And I've tried. I've sent presents and cards and gifts and money and all sorts of things, and they've never made it. It's never made it there, ever, not once. Being sent out, I've never been able to get a care package from my family, ever, not ever. So I don't bother purchasing from over there, because it's an untrustworthy country to deal with as far as commerce goes, and I would be wasting my money. So I have to go the long way about it. Oh yeah, Solaria, it sucks. It really does. Nevertheless, I've just had such a wonderful time sort of rediscovering sort of more practical elements. I have fallen head first all the way back into folk magic and folk magical practices, which is really where my passion always lied. I have a tremendous amount of appreciation for neo-paganism and ceremonial magic and high magic, and call it what you will. And And I've tried and I've honored and I've appreciated and I've experienced many things there. But I always find myself in when reality strikes, the thing that I reach for is practical magic, and that to me is folk magic. And folk magic has never let me down, ever. In fact, it's the only thing that's not let me down. I've tried many, many other forms of magic, and folk magic is where the magic is for me. And we are all different, of course. And so more people are arriving now as the revelry begins. I've just got back from the city and the supermarket and the car wash and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to close it off here and just wish you all a very happy new year and wonderful end of a decade, and just all the good fun things that can happen at this time of the year. Hello. I'm just doing a live stream. Thank you for getting that. She'll love it. Is that a whole 12 pack?
10.
Oh, nice. Alcohol, folks. Yes, I will be drinking. So big, big love to you all. Have an amazing New Year celebration wherever you are, whatever you are doing. And hopefully the closing of the year ends any kind of cycles that you've been wanting to get out of and brings new cycles of prosperity and magic into fruition for you. Sending you so much love, luck, peace, and joy. Take care of yourself, and I will chat to you soon. Bye. I have to end it.